Hi, I'm Erin Righetti, coming to you from Partnering 360 Insight at BioEurope Spring in Paris. I'm here with Anne Beal, the Chief Patient Officer at Sanofi. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Sanofi played a big role in bringing BioEurope Spring here to Paris. Why was it important for you, the Chief Patient Officer, to be here?
Well, one of the things is that the whole concept of patient centricity within pharma is a very new concept. And so this is a new endeavor for us. It is, I think, an opportunity for differentiation, but frankly, it's the future within healthcare and it's the future within pharma. And so one of the reasons why I felt it was important to be here was to make sure that we have an opportunity to talk about patient centricity, what does it mean, and how does it really have a focus on improving patient outcomes.
So, this is a new role, Chief Patient Officer. Why do you think that this role was created?
Well, I think that there are a lot of challenges now in the pharmaceutical industry in terms of our thinking about how do we differentiate ourselves. And I think historically we were very much focused on biological innovation, which we then took to market and took to our patients. But I think increasingly what we're starting to have to ask ourselves is how do we innovate based upon really having a deep understanding of our customers. And I think historically our customers were often thought of as physicians and payers, but frankly it's the patients at the end of the day who are really the end users of our products. So really understanding what patients need, what are the outcomes that matter most to them, and how we can help them achieve improvements in those outcomes is a new way to define patient centricity. It is really being centered on the patient and improving their outcomes.
Oh yeah, wow. Well, Sanofi, as we know, has core strengths in the area of healthcare with 7 growth platforms. Now, you were on a panel today that focused on rare diseases and a patient-centered approach. And in fact, you said that the patient-centered approach is the future of scientific research. I mean, you kind of touched on that. Can you go into that a little bit more?
Sure. So one of the issues around research is that oftentimes a lot of the questions that are asked are questions that are generated by physicians, questions that are generated by researchers, but we rarely have an opportunity to answer questions that are generated by patients. And so we'll have this opportunity in healthcare in general where if we're really understanding what patients need, then our research can respond to what are their priorities. So the panel today was actually a rare disease panel, and I think that it is an appropriate panel to talk about patient centricity because historically it was the rare disease community that was really out in front and driving a lot of research agendas. And so I think that there's really good examples from rare disease and the history that we have with rare disease that patients can bring a lot to the table. They can bring money, they can bring research ideas, they can bring innovation that really makes an impact on improving patient outcomes. Improving that as a proof of concept within rare disease allows us to then say, well then how do we do this with more common diseases, diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease. But increasingly what we're seeing is that when patients come to the table, we ask the right questions, we produce the right products, and we ultimately are improving the outcomes that matter most to patients.
Yeah, that really is the future of healthcare. Now, what do you hope to accomplish here at BioEurope Spring in Paris?
Well, in many ways I feel like I am an evangelist for patient centricity. But one of the things that I think is a huge opportunity for pharma in general is for us to think about all of the money that we spend on research, all of the things that we do to try to innovate. But if we make sure that we're doing that not only because we want to bring something to market, but because we want to improve patient outcomes, because we have a patient-centered approach, really has an opportunity to have a huge impact on health and healthcare, and frankly, a huge impact on patient outcomes. So I think of myself as this evangelist who's really trying to get people to think about putting the patient at the center of everything that we do and making sure that what we do really does focus on improving patient outcomes.
An admirable pursuit for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for meeting with me.
Thank you.